Let's make sweet, sweet profit together.
How we doing there, boys and girls? Welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm feeling a bit rough today, I'm not going to lie. I've been fighting on the edge of being ill for about 2 weeks now, and I can't seem to get, healthy, and I can't seem to just be ill to get it out of the way. I'm kind of in this middle ground, and it's really kind of frustrating me. I can't quite figure it out. But I've had a quick shower, got some coffee on the go, and it's time to have a poke around on the alpha today. I think I am mostly chill with Remix for a little while, just whilst the alpha's in full swing for its final sort of 10 days. A build later this week should bring all the endgame profession stuff. And that does really intrigue me. It intrigues me to have a little look at that. But I think it's probably wise to have a bit of a run around and see how how the zones and stuff feel more so than anything else. Back to standard time, dark at 5 o'clock again. Yeah, clocks changing yesterday threw me as well. It started to get real dark real quick. I was not ready for that. I was not prepared. My four-legged friends, though, obviously have no idea what's going on with clocks changing. So, like, their schedule... To be honest, my schedule is still mostly operating on pre-clocks changing mode. Simply because the dogs want feeding an hour earlier. And the dogs are getting up an hour earlier. So, like, all the norm... They've not changed their routine at all. Oh, I logged into retail as well, and retail has done some weird and wacky flipping, like half my macros have been deleted. My config file apparently had been like reset back to like fresh install mode. And this was across multiple of my characters, and all of my accounts were in, like, all the characters were in a new order, and I was like, oh god. So I don't know what's happened. Like, have people been logging into retail and it giving the realm selection screen, like, every time? Because that was happening all last week for me, and I don't know how to fix it. But it's completely screwed with all of my retail accounts, which is kind of annoying. After being the War Within pre-patch. Yeah, I know when warbands were first added, they messed around with stuff like that, but it's I thought all of that was done, you know. One reputation with the singularity. Well, I guess that's just to open it up and give us access to it, I suppose.
Help me align the spell. It will anchor us back
Realm
to
selection on
Manticore's
each start. Yeah, like it's only one extra button to have to press, but it's kind of annoying. Considering warbands kind of hid the fact that all of your characters can be on different realms, it doesn't matter. Flipping hell, that's loud.
I swear to protect you all.
I think it's happened in this client as well. Hang on. Have these sound options changed? Maybe we just turn that down a bit, because that was This is what we got to do. We got to make a triangle. Make the Illuminati. But all of my characters rearranged as well some time ago after a game had crashed. It was quite annoying. Oh, I wonder if... My computer does have this weird thing that it likes to... Which is, it likes to just randomly turn itself off. I've put it down... I've done a few tests. And I can only put it down to the fact that I think my power supply is just a slight bit dodgy. I've done memory tests. It's either that or I've got a dodgy USB that's like shorting something out and it's switching the computer off and on. It does it very randomly. It never does it under load, which is the weird thing for me. But I wonder if my PC had crashed at some point and that screwed up my WoW settings. I don't know. Dog sneaking over clicking the power button. No, not anything like that. But
just like I knew you would. I have confidence in the strength of
no, but please don't start diagnosing it. I'm not in any sort of technical. I'm not. I don't care about it right now. But it's I was just merely mentioning that it's something that's happened that might be trying to might have screwed up my WoW settings for some reason.
We are in control. We are Endori.
I'll find out what it is and I'll fix it at some point. That's not a problem. But I'd cry for a while if my warband squads get jumbled up again. I've so many. Yeah, well, I mean, for me, like, I have very specific characters that are paired together so that they're all in different shards when I go killing rares and that sort of stuff. So it can get a touch frustrating when they all get jumbled up. But luckily, I have them all in a spreadsheet, so I know who does what and where and why. Dr. Kral with the 2 months. Thank you very much. Good morning. Welcome in. Thank you for that. Ow, little dog. I didn't put my foot there for you to nom it. Ow! Okay, apparently I have to keep my toes on the floor. Sounds like the pretext to build a new computer. I'm not going to lie, a new computer is only 12 months away at this point, I think. I think it's only about 12 months away at this point. I tend to flip-flop. And by that I mean I will change my graphics card and then a year later I change everything else. And then the year after that I'll change the graphics card again. And then the year after that I'll change everything else. I never do it all in one go.
Eyes forward. Maintain focus and...
But not that my computer is out of date by any stretch of the imagination, but I just like to try and keep it reasonably up to date. And it also gives me the luxury of having spare components for if and when something does go pop. Last time I built this computer though, it was at the tail end of like the flipping COVID price hike on everything. So if so it cost more than I wanted to spend, so I'm still feeling the pain of that 2 years ago. Am I deliberately meant to just be sneaking past these? It's giving me the option to kill him. Then we kill him. No. Oh, you got yeeted. See you later. I need to remember I'm not playing Remix and I shouldn't pull absolutely everything. This zone. Whoa, was okay. I'm getting like real Shadowlands vibes off this zone. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. First time I've been out to the Void Storm. I guess we need to set up camp or something initially.
I need to target something first.
What are these three things? The Shade Staff Locus is activated. These things. Here we go. Get some of these on the go. Netherstorm vibes? Yeah, similar. That sort of purpley, well, voidy area in general. Oh, Chris, welcome in, by the way. I have, yeah, I do totally agree with your comment about there being too many channels in the Discord. I have actually done a quick spring clean on some of them. It's just difficult at the moment because it does feel like there's almost double the channels there needs to be, because I want to keep the alpha stuff separate to the, you know, what's current retail stuff. But once Midnight launches, then those two become one, and it's then we just need like one separate channel for like PTR stuff. But yeah, I do kind of agree that there's feels like there's a lot going on in there that doesn't need to be going on, so I've trimmed some of the fat, which might help it. There's with any new members joining the Discord, understanding, you know, what channel to post things in. Okay, one more of these fellas. And then just a bunch of random mobs. Clean the place out a little bit. Had to go into all the channels one by one to get the info I was looking for. All the channels are goal making related, and new and important info can disappear into the nether. Need more coffee to come up with ideas how to resolve it though. Well, yeah, and this is where I'm quite easygoing with people deciding which is the right channel to chat in about certain things. I'm not too sort of jobs worthy about it. As long as it's roughly related to what's going on, I don't mind. But yeah, it does mean that, you know, some like alpha info ends up in just regular goal making channel, which is kind of designed for retail. But yeah, it's that can only be made easier by having less channels though. 2x4 in group open world farms like BOE is dead. There were some subtle but important changes to how loot drops earlier on in the expansion. Mainly being that it has made 2x4 farming significantly less important, or viable, I should say. The change being, in simple terms, is that after you start repeatedly killing the same mobs, they stop dropping loot. So it kind of nuked 2x4 farming and old material farming pretty hard. Now, we don't know why, and Blizzard has been absolutely radio silent on talking about this, but there are a few theories out there. One theory is that it's just a bug, but I'm not really convinced it's a bug, considering the same bug made its way into Remix. I have yet to test it, to be honest, on the alpha, but that could actually be something interesting to go out and test to see if the same thing happens on alpha. My theory is that it was like a bot prevention thing to prevent people just botting a hyperspawn location. Now, unfortunately, if you're 2x4 farming, you're going to fall into that category as well. You're kind of caught in the crossfire. Let's not do cutscenes while we test. But farming is still going to be very, very important. You're just going to have to be more creative about how you do it. You're not going to be able to just stand in one location and repeatedly kill everything on hyperspawn anymore. Renaming some of the channels to mirror what the topic of discussion should be. Yeah, in the Discord I tried to, like, you know, inject a bit of flavour to it to make the channels have, like, related but, you know, kind of interesting names. But the downside of that is that people that don't get it just write anywhere. But yeah, it's one of those that there'll be 50% less channels once Midnight actually launches anyway. It's only because I'm juggling current and future content at the moment. But yeah, I don't really know how to fix it either. Skinning prices are going to be mad, I guess. Skinning doesn't work the same way because skinning is, you know, a player has to take an action on an item. It's not that the mobs don't drop leather. You gather leather from them. So skinning isn't actually really changed. It's things like, you know, farming for volatiles and farming for BOEs and that sort of stuff. Epic items, rare items, are still on the loot table and still drop normally, which is another one of the reasons why I think this is not a bug. This is a very deliberate change to stop people farming hyperspawns. Going into Midnight, we're getting moats as a like elemental resource that seem to be very, very widely used in crafting. These are mostly going to come from herbalism and mining, so I tend to think that there's going to be more of a push into herbing and mining as a way of making steady gold. It's been kind of odd a little bit within the War Within, how herbing and mining hasn't really been as much of a thing. But yeah, for retail right now, I know this sounds really hard for some people to grasp, but Like, I absolutely would not be bothering to try and make any gold in retail right now. It's just the wrong time. It's the wrong season, right? Trying to celebrate Christmas in July, it's just, you're not going to find much interest in it. Nobody particularly wants to be buying anything. All the materials are crashing in value pretty aggressively. You have to be doing something really, really special to be extracting any sort of profit from retail right now. We're at that stage of the expansion where preparing for what's coming next is the smarter thing to be doing. Whether that be leveling alts, leveling your old professions to get ready for decor crafting, even running off doing meta achievements so that you've got them done for when housing and decor comes out. That's kind of the direction I would be suggesting people focus these days. If you're recently coming back to the game. You know, you farm when the farm is good, and right now the farm could not be worse, really. Like I said, unless you can find some niche corner of the market that most people are not paying attention to that still magically has some sort of demand. I try to keep it real with people and suggest that players maybe don't try too hard to make gold in retail right now, because the options are very slim. Cool looking zone though so far. I like the look of this. Fair IRL, so I got time to play when midnight releases. Probably the best use of the time. It's a solid way to look at it, yeah. Yeah, especially in a week or two's time when alpha rolls into beta and significantly more people get access to the midnight content. That is really when you'll see just everything completely crash everything will completely crash in retail at that point. People are already very distracted by playing Remix, so the distractions are only going to get stronger. It's not great for goal making right now in retail. Mr. Tipper with the 32. My man, welcome in. Good morning. Got a good weekend. Blueberry pancakes. Oh, I'm hungry. I could do some blueberry pancakes. We were away all weekend. Me and Mrs. Manthis, we went to her parents for the weekend. Her parents both share a birthday in October. So we went over there and we cooked them dinner and stuff. I might have accidentally had a little bit too much to drink on Saturday. Felt a little bit under the weather yesterday, which in turn also meant that we didn't do any of the usual weekend stuff like go to the shop and buy food. So I'm hungry today. Hey, Hammer-lammers, no win. Absolutely not. Fish a snake. On the snake. Bit annoyed LVI seems to not be a thing anymore in Midnight. It's surprising, isn't it, just how many of the add-ons are being affected by these changes. Even add-ons that were not necessarily in the firing line. I mean, the one thing Blizzard tried to state was that they weren't going after your UI kind of add-ons. But it seems that even the UI add-ons, such as Elf UI, have over the years ended up doing so much
Down to the smallest mite.
that
Stay sharp.
even they are having to seemingly fully rewrite their add-ons to work to be in line with the new changes. And I'm going to be honest, these add-ons that are big, these big add-ons that like probably become people's full-time endeavors, even though they make little to no money. I'm not going to lie, making add-ons for this game is an absolutely thankless job. Completely 100% thankless job. The community expects them to be updated before the content is even released. You know, they expect frequent changes from them. They break every single time Blizzard tweaks something behind the scenes. There is no way for these add-on devs really to keep ahead of the game in that sort of regard. The big ones are being downloaded by millions of people, have a huge, you know, user base. But like I said, still probably make little to zero money whatsoever for the add-on devs. They're completely passion projects. And I wouldn't be surprised if after years and years and years of this being the case, a lot of add-on devs out there are just kind of partly going to use this excuse to say, I'm fucking done now. Genuinely wouldn't be surprised. Like, when LVI turns around and says, yeah, we're about done with this, I think it's twofold. I think it's probably 50% that the changes have meant that they would need to do a lot of work for the add-on, and I think 50% is probably after years and years and years of doing it, they just don't want to do it anymore. Should we be worried for TSM? No. I mean, TSM's not really affected in any way, shape, or form. And more so than any other add-on out there, they have a monetization stream
That
that
your
is
wallet?
probably more reliable
Let's
than
see.
others.
Both, I hope.
I mean, TSM's going to see an interesting resurgence, I think, because of Decor. Because TSM will actually be useful again in that regard. As soon as you get rid of multi-craft, as soon as you get rid of resourcefulness, as soon as you start crafting old stuff, TSM is very, very useful. Especially when it comes to like restocking your decor items, knowing what lumber you might need to go out and farm if you don't already have it, that sort of thing. TSM's use is going to actually explode with decor. In the last couple of expansions, I'll be the first to admit, TSM has been kind of, you know, yeah, we use it for its pricing data, but for crafting, I mean, I've stopped recommending people use TSM crafting like years ago now. Because it's just never been able to keep up with how the system has evolved. Please don't touch craft scan. Craft scan shouldn't have any issues. Later this week we might get a look at the endgame crafting system in Midnight, which might mean it exposes any changes to that system, which might include changes to work orders, who knows. Brot, thank you very much for the sub, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. I was mid TED talk. I didn't miss it, honestly. Thank you. Solid use of the prime there. Are we even calling them primes anymore? Amazon Lunas or whatever? Any Lunas in chat? Seen many times that TSM was asking a lot from the auction house server and how often TSM got restrictions from WoW. I am not convinced we've ever had auction house servers because of TSM. I really don't think that that's made much of an impact overall. Search scans, cancel scans, sniper scans, all create auction house server problems, and Blizzard put that on restrictions. Well, there's no denying that the auction house throttle was implemented. Now, I wouldn't say that was directly in relation to what TSM allows people to do. For example, the throttle was more of a necessary evil for when they were starting to roll out the idea of cross-realm stuff. The region-wide auction house was where they really had to consider just how much certain individuals could interact with the auction house in any given time frame. I don't think that really had much. I mean, sure, TSM probably played a part in that they knew that there was an add-on out there that would allow people to interact with the auction house very quickly. But I certainly don't think that TSM directly causes any issues. It doesn't do any more. I mean, it's probably not doing that many more API calls than any other add-on, really. But equally, I don't really see.
And shadow can become light.
I don't really see any. Well, I mean, I guess some people will argue that they wouldn't have necessarily seen any reason to go after any other add-on, but who knows? Just waiting for some patch to fuck up the DPS meter raiding counter UI and have to wait 2 weeks for a fix. Well, I definitely would agree with the fact that it would have felt more sensible to me if Blizzard had gone out and made their own DPS meter, their own nameplates. It would have made a lot more sense to me if they'd have done all of this, much like they did with the cooldown manager, right? Do all of this, get it working, and then turn around an expansion later and say, right, we have now created an equivalent suite of tools that we believe is enough for people to play the game without the use of these add-ons. Now we're going to restrict the usage of these, the usage of these add-ons. The fact that we seem to be seeing the restrictions coming in before the solution is kind of backwards, in my opinion. I certainly wouldn't have, put forward the idea that you do it that way. Blizzard's approach seems to be very wipe the slate clean and build it up from the ground again. But doing it with a brand new expansion release seems kind of risky. I would have suggested or would have assumed it would have been far safer bet to create Blizzard nameplates, create Blizzard DPS meters, add all of these features and functionality into the base version of the game, and then say that, okay, add-ons, now maybe you've had your day. Thank you, but we'll take it from here. I don't even know. Server lag and auction house slowed down when TSM became popular. Many players began mass scanning, posting thousands of auctions using its automated features. The old auction house system before Blizzard's revamp in Battle for Azeroth couldn't handle the rapid requests. It's led to auction house lag, slow searches, freezes, delayed auction listings, occasional auction house temporarily unavailable errors. I'm still not overly convinced that it was add-ons like TSM that really did that. I think that they easily would have been the scapegoat in that. I mean, add-ons of all shapes and sizes, yes, have over the years forced Blizzard to do better. I think TSM has played its own part in that it's kind of forced their auction house architecture to maybe be more solid, but I still wouldn't necessarily say that that means that, you know, it's the fault of TSM, you know. I think most of the add-ons will be decent though. Midnight is still months away. Oh yeah, sure. There's still plenty of time, but it's just interesting to see how many of these how many of these add-ons are so willing to just like throw in the towel now. But it's a psychological thing, isn't it? You know, like I said, these add-ons have to be passion projects for people. They have to be something that people like really want to do, and they want to feel like they're providing something. You know, if you're going out there to create add-ons, you want to feel like you're providing something to somebody because Blizzard hasn't done it themselves. You don't want to feel as if you are having to fight with Blizzard on what you can and can't do. That's a really big psychological shift. Whereas before you were just providing something and there was no real issues with it. But now Big Daddy Blizzard is like, oh, you can't do this and you can do this. And like, you feel as if you're fighting with your own boss kind of at that point. And it doesn't surprise me that some people are just like, well, it's a passion project. I don't make any money from this. It takes me a huge amount of time. I just don't want to do it anymore. But of course, that's not really the PR answer that many of these people will give. They'll, you know, point the finger at, oh, well, Blizzard has changed this, 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 and this. It's going to take an awful lot of work, and so we're hanging up the towel. For, you know, we're calling it a day. Oh shit! I could kill you all of a sudden. I should really be reading some of this quest text. I'm not really here to, you know, to absorb the story. I'm here to just kind of see the zones and see what's on offer out here. Blizzard will strangle TSM more in the future. Any kind of service stress is a bad thing for the game, and it'll hit the wallet.
Greet you.
What you do have to kind of remember, though, is that TSM is an add-on that directly creates a lot of money for Blizzard, because TSM is fundamental in the the economy in this game. No other add-on out there has done as good of a job as TSM in tracking the items and creating like valuations for things and for facilitating the economy to go round. No other add-on has done it better over the years. And so it would kind of be shooting yourself in the foot, really, for them to go off after that. That doesn't seem like a smart play to me.
Power is to be wielded, not feared.
Seems very desolate out here. We are just literally standing on a random ass platform out here. Stable master over here. What we got going on?
I greet you. Power is to be wielded, not feared.
Read from another comment from the OUF devs. Oh god, this is an article and a half. What's this? LVUI will not be updated for midnight. Many seem to think most add-ons will be fine for midnight. they will not. Most major add-on projects will require entire rewrites with hours and hours of free labor from devs, only to be in a very gutted version, and many won't bother. There's also major stuff missing to even make something that looks different but has the same functionality as the base game. As many UI functions became flat out impossible for add-ons to interact with, even ones that are required to reproduce what Blizzard does. Expect more add-ons to follow suit. Here's the quote from the mentioned OUF statement. OUF, the framework which powers our unit frames and nameplates, also posted a small statement on their GitHub about it as well. So actually, never mind. After spending a couple of hours on the alpha and seeing how bad the state of it actually is, I've decided to put this endeavor on hold. Just to get OUF not throwing errors left and right, I had to completely disable core functionality such as nameplates, tags, cast bars, auras, as well as a couple more elements. Tags and nameplates could probably be salvaged, but the others, there just isn't a way to have them in any working order. Blizzard wants us to provide them with feedback and free Q&A, and I'm not doing that just to help them fix the mess that they got themselves into. They have employees on their payroll that can figure that out themselves. In the current state, OUF will not be worked on, at least not by me. I will give it another go in a few months when they announce a date for the pre-patch to see if it's in any way salvageable. If by then it's a broken mess, we might just call it the end of this project. I'm going to leave this draft up, and we'll see when the time comes. See, this very much goes into what I was saying a minute ago, doesn't it? That these are passion projects for people. And soon as the passion, the passion is fine if you feel that you're able to do something that's, you know, working to provide players with a better solution than what we have, and you're not fighting Big Daddy Blizzard at the same time. But considering that these are passion projects and they make these people no money, if you have to start fighting the battle too much, people just like, well, I don't want it anymore. No, I'm just not. It doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. And they're right. They're right. Like, they, you know, much like the PTR and much like the alpha. Why do you think the alpha is given to content creators and add-on devs and all of this sort of stuff? It's because people like me have a monetization model that allows us to do this. And, you know, add-ons have never had that flexibility. Add-ons have always been an absolutely thankless job. I can sit here and I can play the alpha and I can stream it and I can make YouTube videos about it and that sort of stuff, and I enjoy doing it. And, you know, I would be quite comfortable doing this even if it didn't generate any sort of revenue. It's very, very nice that it does generate some sort of revenue. Add-on devs, on the other hand, have almost no viable way of generating any revenue from what they do. So soon as the fight starts getting too tough, there's no reason for them to stick around. Have you looked into fishing in Midnight? Not yet. I couldn't actually find the cooking vendor even. Sorry, no, I lie. I found a cooking vendor, but he didn't allow me to update cooking. I don't know why cooking's not been on the alpha properly. It might be now. I just haven't looked. But I equally then would have. I looked to wombo combo fishing and cooking, but because I couldn't find cooking, I ignored fishing. Another comment from the OUF devs. We aren't taking a break. People seem to weirdly misinterpret what we said. Some do it maliciously, others just don't understand how add-on development works. I see people say that we aren't updating things because it's too much work, but that's not true. We've been through multiple overhauls over the years. There was a rewrite in Legion and a massive update in Dragonflight. We never complained about those. If anything, they're fun because Blizzard weren't just gutting the API, they were upgrading it. We were given new toys to play with, which either helped us improve the visual presentation or the performance. What's happening right now is completely different. Right now, Blizzard are simply gutting the API. No matter how much time and effort we throw at rewrites, there's just nothing we can do to replace the things that are broken at the moment. Sure, we could rewrite cast bars so they would work on a super basic level. They'd be choppy, but they'd work. But I can't add empowered casting that's used by evokers and in a bunch of world quests and events like Brewfest Cooking Thing. I can't even add delays for when you get hit. Auras on the unit frames are another thing. They're completely cooked. People have been complaining about auras on the default Blizzard target frame for ages now, that they're hard to read and that there's no filtering, etc. But we can't even make anything that's on par with that atrocity. And due to the new limitations, our version would perform so much worse despite having basically no features whatsoever. The same applies to so many other things like health, power, class power, etc. People keep bringing up, Ian said this, Ian said that. Combat APIs this, combat APIs that. Customization will be possible. In reality, to customize things that you need to do some maths under the hood. But we can't do any of that now because the needed values are secret and we can't read them. We can't alter them, we can't react to them. The only thing we can do is pass them around like a hot potato. All in all, it's not about the time and the effort. We simply no longer have the tools to do the things that we want to do. Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, to roll it back round, I would have still expected significant improvements to Blizzard's offerings directly, and then once they have done that, then they can throttle the shit out of the API and basically say add-ons will take it from here. But it seems pretty ballsy and pretty risky to kick out all of your free add-on devs before you've even, you know, given it a good go yourself. Kind of scary. It's kind of scary in a way. This is why I'm kind of quite glad that over the last few years I've actually very, very, very much toned back the amount of add-ons and stuff I use. But of course I know I don't play super endgamey kind of content, so the kind of stuff I enjoy and tinker with doesn't require me to have, you know, millisecond response time on debuffs and, you know, all this sort of stuff going on. I often get people turn up and ask me about my, you know, UI, and it's like, oh, what add-ons do you use to use that? And it's default UI the entire time. I just move things about. But it's the approach is odd. The approach is odd. But I'm equally, like I said, I'm equally not surprised that whilst the approach seems odd, I'm entirely not surprised that, you know, devs, add-on devs are left, right, and center turning around and are like, "Nah, we're just done. We are done." I should have put herbalism and mining on this dude actually, just to see nodes and figure out where stuff is and. Stashed singularity supplies. What was that? Threadbare crown. That's random auto-generated default loot item kind of thing.
The universe is full of mystery.
Need my base heal to be on left click. If not, I'll be angry. Well, that sort of functionality should be fine.
My fate is my own.
But you can't really make too many assumptions right now. I often have it quite difficult when sort of, you know, formulating an opinion on this sort of add-on related stuff, because I don't know how these add-ons really function under the hood anyway. I like the programming aspect of them is just like whoosh. I got no idea. I have a rough, a very, very rough understanding of how they work, but the finer details of it, not a clue. That feels very squishy. Very squishy.
I need to target something first.
Hopefully the community gives enough negative feedback for them to make some changes so that add-ons like LVI work again. Well, equally, at the same time, one thing we do know is that if there is a demand for something, somebody will fill that gap, right? If LVI decide that, you know, they're done, they're throwing in the towel, well, they might see it as if they need to throw in the towel on the basis of the fact that they need to build everything from the ground up again. Somebody else, on the other hand, might come along and take that as challenge accepted. You know, this, you know, one party exits, one party might, you know, turn up. You don't know what the possibility is there. If there's enough of a demand for something, somebody will be willing to do it. The player base in this game is big enough that it will just happen. But, you know, there might rise a new contender for the, you know, default overall complete UI overhaul mod. LVI weren't always the biggest and the best. There was competition before that. Let's not forget, many people would use a combination of many different add-ons to achieve the same, if not similar thing, way before LVI was like a one-box solution. I don't know. And I also mentioned the other day that it's kind of difficult at the moment because a transition period is always hard, but it's a transition period without really much understanding of what or how Midnight is going to feel yet. And this is by proxy of there being about 4 people with alpha access. Blizzard really should have given way more people access to the alpha so that people can start running around and tinkering with this sort of stuff. The kind of info, the feedback that they're going to get out of the alpha right now is very biased. Very biased. Very heavily swayed to, you know, content creators and high-end raiders and add-on devs and stuff like that. Like, it's not... This game has not been seen by the general player base yet in almost any way, shape or form. People are heavily basing their sort of opinions on this, you know, around the war within game.
The void offers endless
Time for the alpha is over. Rise up, beta brothers. Well, I think they're going to just roll the beta straight after the alpha. I can't imagine they'll take it down for any period of time. It doesn't seem worth it, to be honest. Considering they're trying to extract money out of people to get beta access, I don't feel there's any reason for them to not just roll straight into the beta. Feel bad for content creators who made their livelihood from add-ons, like Quasi, who made a ton of free weak auras and LVI packages. Man's a treasure of the community. See, yeah. That's problematic for certain individuals. I mean, I've experienced a little bit of this. Over the last couple of, you know, I grew... I don't know how to say this without it just sounding weird, but like my big rise in popularity came during Shadowlands, and it was quite quick. And And one of the more popular things that people found me for was my ability to break down TSM quite effectively. So my TSM groups and that sort of stuff became pretty popular. There was like, you know, accompanying spreadsheets for legendaries and this sort of stuff. Now, then, obviously going into things like Dragonflight and stuff, and I mentioned this earlier, my reliance and my promotion of add-ons like TSM and its crafting became significantly less. So whereas, you know, my TSM groups and operations package that I would bundle within Patreon, for example, was of great appeal to people for a long time, and then it wasn't. It's a similar thing for content creators that would have, you know, done a lot of weak auras, done a lot of add-ons, that sort of stuff. You got to pivot. you got to twist. You got to pivot. Like I said, at least as a content creator, you have the additional advantage that you know, your revenue isn't directly reliant on a single add-on. Flipping hell, someone killed me there. What was that? You narrow the space in which add-on devs can operate, there will be casualties. Many of them likely see the writing on the wall and the game is moving towards no add-ons. It's certainly moving to... I don't think it will ever be a no add-on situation. I don't think they'll ever go full Final Fantasy on it, where they like just outright ban the usage of add-ons. But we are definitely moving in a direction where, yes, less add-ons is a priority for them. Right, one of these wasps somehow did a shitload of damage to me, even though it wasn't attacking me. And I wasn't paying anyway. Oh, okay. This nature damage. Okay, that tick is actually quite brutal. That was two-thirds of my health bar. If I get hit with that twice, I'm cooked. That's quite strong. Maybe one wasp at a time then. Especially since it didn't seem to matter about pet aggro. It targeted me regardless.
New doorways have opened to us.
I know the feeling. I haven't made any money from my guide lately because it never made any money in the well. It's a difficult line to draw, and it takes a bit of practice. But I've long since believed that, sure, yes, you should give some stuff away for free, and you should give away some stuff for free, but there is also some stuff that you should not give away for free. In terms of the fact that if there is value in something, especially if it takes you time and effort to produce it, you should equally be rewarded for that time and effort put in. Now, obviously, if you just, you know, shitting out AI slop, then there's no value in that, but... point is you need to offer, you know, the thing you need to be offering has to be of some value. But some stuff for free, not everything though. Nature res for the leveling here, yeah, and I'm not even convinced. I don't know what my item level here is meant to be. They did say that gear dropping is dropping less than what it should be. It's like quest rewards are giving me 120 gear. I would be absolutely toast in 120 gear right now. I would be absolutely cooked in 120 gear. Bloodborne pathogen. Carrying a strange pathogen, reducing movement speed by 5%. Infectious, will spread upon death. Oh, well, we've seen how these spreading pathogens, we see, like, these are problematic. Somebody takes this into a capital city, we know about it. Take it into a neighborhood, yeah. Infected. Just waiting for the petitions for pre-add-on nerf WoW servers. We think we want them, but we don't. We'll get them in a decade's time. I've always believed that games that embrace add-ons and embrace modifications have almost basically never failed. And I've always sort of believed, because of that, add-ons that don't embrace add-ons and modifications are signing themselves up for not a good time. So I do see the concern in how they're handling add-ons right now, because it does seem to be going in the direction I would have expected. But there's a difference between like add-ons and mods, right? In other games, modifications tend to have to sit on top. Mods tend to sit on top of an already very solid base game as a way to change the gameplay to promote replayability, I guess. Would be a good way to describe it. That's not really the avenue WoW's always taken. WoW's always taken, you know, add-ons in WoW have never changed the experience. Everybody is still playing the same game in the same way with the same rule set. But you've been able to customize the way things look and feel whilst doing that. The fact that they've been willing to give us classic servers over the years, and then they've done things like Season of Discovery, shows that they're kind of willing and open to like more modification style, more mod style implementations, but less tweaking of stuff is... I don't know where I'm going with this other than to say that it does just genuinely feel a bit odd the way that they're dealing with it all. I mean, it's been memed for years, hasn't it? That like Blizzard have had like how many hundreds of thousands of free developer time do you think Blizzard has taken advantage of over the years from all the add-on devs just quite literally working for free? Now their decision to kick half of them out and try and do it themselves, doesn't I feel backwards in a way?
For a new future.
Oh, you had quite the ick about you.
Question everything.
The antidote did not work.
The whispers do not control me.
Yeah, all the gears, they did say that items were dropping at a lower item level than intended this build.
Power is to be
But
wielded.
I would definitely concur that 120 item level here, I would be ruined. I would be done. Angler anomaly? Hello? Void hole fishing? Well, that's an interesting twist. Who was mentioning fishing earlier? No loot tables for fishing by the looks of things yet. Unless it's just the fact that this is a pre-made character and he has no fishing skill. I don't get who they're pandering to with all the add-on changes. Well, players aren't stupid. Now, whilst Blizzard hasn't directly openly said this themselves, players aren't stupid, and it's incredibly clear to see the direction that they want to take the game in, right? They want to make World of Warcraft accessible to as many people as they possibly can. The only way they can do that is have a base game that works anywhere and everywhere. So, you know, the console side of things, they absolutely want World of Warcraft to work both on console. They want World of Warcraft to work seamlessly on sort of like cloud-based streaming services. They absolutely want to ensure that if you want to play World of Warcraft, you have a device and a way to play World of Warcraft. Not everything has to be multi-platformed. That's easy to say as not the person that profits financially from that. Blizzard, you know, World of Warcraft is not a passion project anymore. It is a fully fledged business, and it's a fully fledged business with shareholders and all sorts to appease. I hear you, but that argument doesn't swing. Because companies these days are not going to not do something. They're going to do it until it's proven to not be a good idea. And as it stands at the moment, it is quite clear to Blizzard, it is quite clear to Microsoft that World of Warcraft does remarkably well on PC and has for many a year been an absolute cash cow for Blizzard on PC. Now, there is an awful lot of players out there that play video games, and there's an awful lot of money out there by people who enjoy playing video games who do not have a high-end desktop PC. And unfortunately, they're going to very clearly see that as money left on the table, as they say. Bobby's World. Yeah. Can't do that in combat. Get out of combat then. Okay, no loot on those things yet. Wonder if I can I track fishing stuff on these characters? No, these are all stupid pre-made low-level characters, so I don't have track fishing locations or whatever, but that's kind of cool. Angler's Anomaly.
Walk your own path.
Okay, let's go and have a little look up here, shall we? They've definitely embraced the multi-level over here. Kind of, oh, flipping hell, what was the Venthyr zone called? Oh, hang on, isn't this like the PvP area? Not that there's anybody on the alpha, so I can't imagine there's any issue with being here. Wait, there's fishing content and you're messing around with quests?
The universe is full
Since where did this obsession about fishing come from? I miss the Goblin King. He was super smart about Asian game companies, how they protect their ID, bind software to hardware. He really was bashing them a lot when Microsoft was buying Activision. Are you claiming you miss Bobby Kotick? Is that... That's not a sentence I've heard come from many people's mouths. War mode quartermaster.
Everything has a price. If
Nothing on you yet.
pay it.
What else we got round here? Quest is locked.
Question
That's a new icon.
everything.
That's a new icon. Wonder if that's going to be a level 90 quest introducing to the endgame PvP zone, which I think this is what it is, right? Void Post West neutral, Void Post East neutral, Void Post South, some sort of capture the flag style PvP area or something.
The universe is full of mystery.
Is there fog of war on the map? There isn't even proper maps yet.
Unchecked emotion leads to ruin.
So things like fog of war, not so much. We permit the presence of your kind for one reason, your willingness to fight. Show us the skills of mortal duelists. Go find another of your kind. The pit below is an ideal site for demonstrations of combat prowess. Win a duel against another player or the Master's Champion. So is this meant to be... Oh, okay. Meant to be a mini arena for people to tinker with. Temporarily prevented from challenging the Master's Champion. Oh. Well, I guess we come back once that debuff runs out then. Stable Master, repairs. Me looking nervously at my one button rotation. Yeah. Okay, well, maybe let's head up here then, see what's going on up here. Is there any... surely this isn't a flying zone then, right? If it's PvP focused, surely it can't have flying as well, right? Oh, no, it does. Okay, I was expecting to get instantly dismounted. How does this work? How does this work then in a world where you just fly? He was super smart about that. He was explaining what is happening now with Nintendo and Sony, binding their software to their consoles, how they were using loopholes in the West about that. Even Sunak, ex-UK Prime Minister, hired him to make a new Silicon Valley in the UK. Bobby told him, only thing he will have is a Death Valley if the laws don't change. Imagine you can only play WoW on PC if you buy an Nvidia card or an AMD CPU. You got Intel, too bad for you.
We embrace a new future.
I mean, yeah, say what you like about Bobby.
The void
He
offers
clearly
endless
knew the industry well.
whispers
Shame he was
control me.
a bit of a dick. I don't think there's really much of a,
Be wielded,
you know,
not feared.
you can have all of the knowledge in the world and you can be very good at whatever your job is, but if you're a bit of a dick at the same time, then that is also going to be a problem. I mean, without getting deep into any sort of global politics, you'll find that often. That people are often very good at their jobs, but questionable individuals. You think WoW will release on console in the future? The concept of console is, you know, up for questions these days. I don't keep too much attention with what's going on with all of this, but like Xbox and Microsoft have been doing an awful lot in the last decade in the opposite direction of console gaming. It feels like to Microsoft, console gaming was a 2-decade way to climb to the top of the tree, to put themselves in, you know, duopoly position along with Sony. And Sony probably see a similar thing, to where, sure, consoles were very, very, very effective for a long, long time, but fundamentally a console is just a mini PC. I don't think consoles will ever not exist, because they will be the cheaper and the easier alternative. There is always demand for a cheaper and an easier alternative. People want the one-box solution, even if the one-box solution isn't the best solution. Oh, me pet's dead. I stupidly haven't put the revive pet on me button. And I'm trying to look at a poll at the same time. Absolutely not paying attention to what's going on here. Am I? Oh, pit of oh, we resurrect. Okay, we don't resurrect our corpse out here. We resurrect at certain locations. Well, that makes sense if it's a PvP focused area. You think WoW will come to councils in the future? Probably meant to say consoles. I don't think it's a question. It'll absolutely land on a console at some point. Nearly all significant changes that have happened in World of Warcraft in the last 5+ years can somewhat, in somewhat shape or form, be tied back to housing dye Vortex Teal. I just looted a dye. That's interesting. It was a little treasure on the map. More profession content on YouTube during alpha. Yeah, I'm not done with Remix, but I'm playing Remix an awful lot less. It's certainly not the main focus right now. I'm catching up a little bit with Alpha, and once I'm caught up, I can start making, finish the first looks. And the first looks will roll into discussion videos and feedback videos and this sort of stuff, and I think we'll roll into the beta in a few weeks as well. So, yeah, there'll be more YouTube content for sure. Oh, okay. No loot from the rare at all. Oh, it was worth poking him just to see. Really struggling to kill the mobs. I mean, these are pre-made characters, and I'm not actually trying to play the class particularly well. I'm just using the one-button rotation, honestly, at the moment, just to see how the zone feels. But with the squish, yes, things like poisons are feeling a little bit juicy. What do I do? I need just more Ica. Kill more things.
I'm out of range.
The same talent system. Talents are not that much different. Your hero talents have extra buttons, basically, which I'm confused by to a degree, because this does not in any way, shape or form feel how it was initially laid out. This doesn't, yeah, the talent system just feels like they've slapped some extra buttons in here. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I very much remember them at least teasing a different, more choice-based talent system. Whether they've gone back on that or not, I'm not sure. It's an endgame zone, but the mobs are still scaled to my level, at least where I am right now. I think I'll feel more at home when it comes to like testing the zones and stuff once I can copy my actual main character over and then level it naturally through the zones. I'm not sure if that's even available to us now. We're kind of meant to be focused on just testing this zone. This zone specifically at the moment, this week at least.
Shurela Run. Unchecked emotion leads to ruin. The whispers do not control me.
Oh, more circles to run over. Boom, Rift. Why make the game more accessible for new players yet keep such a complex talent point system? They flip-flop with it every few years though, don't they? This is the thing. It'll be in this form for another expansion, and then they'll decide to just delete it all and make 4 rows again. We'll go back to Cataclysm.
Power is to be wielded.
Some of us have just played the game for too long that we've seen this. We've seen the game go full circle.
Question everything.
Starting Zone and Zulaman are connected to the other two, but the other two are separated. Yeah, you've got, if we zoom out, you've got, well, the Void Storm and Harandar are separated. I've not tested this zone at all. I was too busy playing Remix the week this was available for test. Same with Zulaman. We were able to play through Eversong Wood in the first week, of which I didn't do all of the side quests, but I spent a bunch of time in the zone. It's going to be nice when we can just like create a character and work our way through and progress through it properly, but that's obviously, that's the equivalent of like playing an expansion from start to scratch, which is pretty time intensive, so I probably won't be focusing on too much of doing that, as it's not really my level of expertise. I'll probably quite quickly start focusing on a lot of the professional sort of stuff more than anything. BOEs though. Yeah, so you can see the items are like turning up at the wrong item level. Its tooltip suggests it's 226, but then the actual item is 49 for some reason. Stuff's broken, but 226 BOEs at level 90. 226? 226 at level 90. That feels like Wrath of the Lich King kind of item levels. Same with the profession knowledge point. Player has never been into professions and will have no clue what it all does and means. I definitely am. I mean, this will end up being a topic for a YouTube video. I just feel it's sensible for me to get the first look videos done first, but I am also quite surprised in the direction that they've chosen to simplify professions. I was concerned with this once we started to get wind that they were simplifying things. Of the, well, what do they consider simplifying? Because I would have expected things like the spec trees to be, you know, the area where they simplify shit, right? Because look at the feedback in the last 4 years. The feedback since the launch of Dragonflight has been these spec trees, like, fucking nobody knows what they're doing with them. Everybody feels like they have the obligation to film them, even though that necessity isn't there in any way, shape, or form. Concocted mystical residue may be traded for other objects of similar luster. We're going to be farming up some sort of currencies to then trade in for... Okay, we need to find where those vendors are. Yeah, the you know, spec trees would have been an area where I would have expected them to go, you know what? 4 different spec trees for a profession. is an overload of information for anybody setting up a profession. Why they didn't just take every profession and turn it into one spec tree and simplify the amount of nodes is kind of beyond me. That would have felt like a real obvious simplification. Just slicing out features of a profession would not have been the way I would have chosen to do it, honestly. Because there'll be a common theme, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail once the time is right. But one of the common themes of professions in Midnight is that the question is basically, what have they cut? You know, what have they sliced out of this profession to simplify it? And most professions have had something sliced out of them. So for me, that's not simplification, that's just less. Which was a concern I had right from the very beginning. What's that little dig icon? Ethereal tool rack? Oh! What power would you like? Primary stat by 5%. Grant low gravity during ethereal disruption. Yeah, give me low gravity during something. 30 minutes. Imbued by a celestial carver, increasing your primary stat by 5%. Being imbued by an ethereal tool will grant low gravity during ethereal disruption. What the hell's ethereal disruption? I don't know. Anti-gravity area? Shrink ray. Smaller but movement speed is increased by 200%. Okay. Ethereal crate. Ethereal energy. Sure. Yoink. Why do I need any of this? I'm not sure. Siege turret? Can we use this thing? Oh shit, we can. This is going to be a predominantly PvP area. This, you know, it's going to feel odd running around here by myself. I guess the theory is that you'll control capture points and then control access, and then these are your defensive turrets to keep people at bay or whatever. Are they really trying to make an actual, like, persistent open world PvP area? I mean, that's awesome for PvP focused players. They've not had anything like that for ages. Blizzard announced the current profession changes. I was excited, but when I actually got my hands on it, I found the profession specs, nodes, etc. totally overwhelming and lost all interest in it. They iterated pretty well on it in the War Within. And with the addition of concentration and the removal of ingenuity, I think they were going in the right direction. There's no denying that Dragonflight was, like, rough around the edges. And it was pretty brutal to get on board with if you just wanted to tinker with professions. And so at least in the War Within, they did sort of take note of that a little bit. They simplified things a little, like, not simplified, they streamlined pain points in the War Within. But I do still think there was work to do. I've since Dragonflight launched thought that the spec trees were kind of odd because they're not spec trees to start with, because you're not specializing. It's been a gripe of mine since day one with Dragonflight profession change that they're calling them specializations, but you never specialize. You specialize for as long as it takes you to fill the tree, then you're not a specialist anymore. There's no emphasis on being a specialist, and without there being an emphasis on being a specialist in something, then it doesn't give any single player or category of players the ability to differentiate themselves from others. When every single jewel crafter has all of the knowledge points in the entire jewel crafting tree, no longer are any of them specialist. They all have the ability to do exactly the same thing. So why are they called spec trees when you're not actually speccing into them? People very quickly were like, well, I just need to put all the points in all the nodes then. And the meta became very quickly that until you had all of the points in all of the nodes needed to craft something at the best quality, you probably just shouldn't bother, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't know why they didn't treat the professions much like a talent tree. And I think each profession should have one tree. I painted this, we did this on paint at some point, but one profession talent tree, and within each season you have access to X amount of knowledge points in which you can spend. So you might choose to go heavy into prospecting, or you may choose to go heavy into gem cutting. And it can all just be on one talent tree. And if you know how many knowledge points that are possible within that season, you can either do it in the first 2 weeks, or you can turn up later and do it in the last 2 weeks if you want. But the cap should be relatively simple to achieve, and they can increase the cap season on season if they want throughout an expansion. They can make the first chunk of each knowledge points easier to get. Condense it all into one tree, simplistic nodes. At the bottom of the tree, in the trunk of the tree, you can have some small mini branches out to increase your resourcefulness, increase your multi-craft. I genuinely think the spec trees would be so much easier for people to understand if they were all condensed into one. The fact it's in 4 different windows is enough for people to go, well, I need 20 points in this window, and I then need 10 points in this window, and I've got to flick between one and the other. I just don't think it's very streamlined. They wouldn't have actually needed to remove many nodes or changed much at all, but like building it into one talent tree and making the rules clear and obvious would have made usability so much better.
There is strength in shadow.
People were complaining that they weren't able to skill into everything. You can't please everybody. If the rules are defined clearly ahead of time, it's equal for everybody. And this is, I think, where the professions have lacked, really. Because there is this feeling of that if you just continuously grind them, you can fill the entire tree. Let me put it this way. Let me look at it from the other perspective. When you open your profession and you look at your add-on of choice and it tells you that nothing is profitable to craft, is it easier, and do most people just assume it's because they're missing knowledge points and that more knowledge points might be the solution to their problem? Or do they actually look into and figure out the nuance of why that item isn't profitable? No, of course they don't. They point the finger at the thing that's easiest to point the finger at. They point the finger at the fact that they'll just be like, oh, well, somebody else probably has more knowledge points, meaning that this is why this thing's not profitable. The system's shit. It's going to take me 6 months to level blacksmithing. I don't want to do it. Whoa, what's going on here? I'm in a chair. Hello? I didn't even sure, I sat in a chair. Still no way to just look at a recipe and know which nodes affects it. That's also true. Yeah, the usability and like the streamlining of it, the simplification of it could have been done in a very smart way. But instead, somebody at Blizzard has been tasked with quote-unquote simplifying the professions, and all they've done is they've gone, right, thaumaturgy, too complicated, get it gone. Oh, right, ever-burning ignition, blacksmithing, get it gone. You know, they've just gone through the professions and just sliced things out, and now they're going to be like, oh, look, less is more, right? Less, simpler. Where, you know, people who actually enjoy the professions might turn around and look at that and go, well, no, you've just offered us, you've just found a way to give us less. You've not addressed any of the original pain points or problems. If they don't, I tell you what, at this point, if they don't put quality on public orders, it shows that they are just clearly not listening at this point. In Dragonflight, there was good reason to not have quality on public orders. In The War Within, there was significantly less reason to not have quality on public orders because they had the patron order system. But going into Midnight, if they don't put quality on patron order on public orders, it's a clear indication that they're just not listening. Because there's absolutely no reason to not have quality on public orders anymore. Don't die, crab. So this is one of the things we need to pay careful attention to next week. We're likely to get the remainder of like the end game crafting system to test next week, or with the next alpha build. And if that's the case, we need to start looking at in detail to see if they're changing anything with how orders and stuff work, because that's an area where simplification could really help. Too convoluted in my opinion, not accessible enough. This is feedback that's been, yeah, screamed from the rooftops from a lot of players. I on the other hand though, don't believe that all friction should be removed completely. I do think there needs to be what I refer to as a skill gap with professions. You know, those that do want to tinker and those that do want to figure shit out should have the ability to do so, but it shouldn't be at the cost of everybody else's enjoyment of it. They were starting to get this right, and they have been starting to get this right with concentration, and actually dropping materials down from 3 qualities to 2, even though those that know what they're doing understand that that probably isn't going to make a blind bit of difference, it does at face value at least make it feel easier to understand what concentration does. You know, having just normal or high quality materials means that players can come along with their profession, and from the very second they get going, they can go, oh, if I press concentration, now I get the high quality thing that I'm actually looking to make. It's a subtle improvement, but I think that one that will help playability quite a lot. Even though, like I said, most goblins out there that know the professions inside and out will probably quite quickly be able to tell you that we only ever cared about 2 qualities anyway. We cared about quality 2 and quality 3. That's all that, you know, still the same quantity of things that we care about. It's just the ease of understanding of the system is being improved by just getting rid of one of them. Low floor but a high ceiling. And that's obviously difficult to do. That's very difficult to do. And we still don't really know just what direction they plan to take with the professions in Midnight. I'm going to assume that we're probably still meant to be able to guarantee everything at high quality. What they then need to do to be able to make sure that that sort of low floor but high ceiling is there still, is they do then need to make sure that gathering high quality materials is not too easy. They need to make sure that high quality materials are obtainable, but are pretty rare. Because that will be the stretch goal or the incentive for players to get better at their professions generally. If the higher quality materials end up being more sought after and more pricey, that will add value to the concentration spend to make high quality intermediates, consumables, whatever. If high quality material, if they want to go the route of allowing crafters to eventually mass produce everything, they also need to make sure that high quality materials are quite tough to get. Otherwise, if high quality materials are easy to get, you'll find that you'll use far less concentration per craft of a high quality item in the journey until you can guarantee it, and there won't necessarily be enough of an added value to using lower quality materials and concentration if the mats are too easy to get. But this is all things to keep a careful eye on during the beta. Because professions are look but don't touch right now. We can't play with them enough to really figure that sort of stuff out. And of course, when half of the professions aren't even implemented or balanced properly yet, then you're kind of wasting your time even trying, which is why I haven't bothered yet. Thaumaturgy was a good example. Took one look at it and thought, nope, too complicated for me to bother with. I didn't have any issue with it existing, though. Thaumaturgy was a very clever system, and one I am very surprised they chose to cut out. But also, it clearly shows me that whoever was assigned the job of simplifying professions has just gone in with like a butcher's knife and decided that simplification just means cut things out. Because Thaumaturgy did fantastic things for the profession and the economy in general. It meant that there was no point in the entire expansion where farming materials was completely worthless. There was now, of course, the material you would choose to farm might differ from time to time, but it basically meant that there was always a point where you'd farm some in. Ooh, a wild wife appears. Hang on, give me 2 minutes, boys and girls. I'll be back in 2. Alrighty. Sorry, I was luckily able to place a lunch order with the wife. Have you seen the 1.2 Satisfactory yet? They're improving fluids and other things? I haven't, no. I'm cautiously trying to not pay too much attention to anything else that's going on out there. Since, I mean, you might have noticed that I've actually not disappeared to play Battlefield 6 at any point. And this is via careful avoidance of it. Satisfactory is another one that I would, yes, very much love to have a poke around Satisfactory again, especially if they're making improvements. But not now. There's far too much going on right now. Between housing, alpha, remix, beta, the whole shebang. My schedule is full. Oh, is the little dog now less impressed that she didn't get to go with? Maybe. There's rumors about a battle royale in Battlefield 6. I mean, did they not realize it's not 2019 any longer? I mean, I guess maybe. Do Battlefield players really want a battle royale? But yeah, it's still on my Steam wish list, Battlefield 6. I'll probably pick it up the first time it goes on sale. But I'm tactically avoiding it right now. I'm still accidentally maybe playing a couple of games of Mega Bonk every day, just because that's like a good 20 minutes, dip in, blast it. If you get a good run on the go, cool. If not, put it down, play it again tomorrow kind of game. I can deal with a 20-minute, half an hour blast in other games here and there, but can't be doing a Battlefield 6 right now. I haven't got the time. Tomorrow is BF6 Season 1 patch with the Battle Royale. Wow, wow, wow. I will wait and I will watch Shroud or Tim the Tatman or Nade Shot or somebody play it first. We dinged 89 yet? No, not quite. We're very close. Nobody knows if it launches tomorrow, but it will launch it within that patch. Interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, shit, I meant to be branding these guys. I'm gonna forget. No, I was pleasantly surprised by the BF6 beta, which is why it's on my radar, honestly. I would have probably let it just fly, but the beta was really, really fun. The beta was really fun. Been a Battlefield fan since the 1942 days, one of my favourite franchises. BF6 is pretty solid. The only thing for me with the Battlefield games that I personally have never really got on with so much is that the air and the air and vehicle combat is always aggressively overpowered, in my opinion. I like the fact that it's, you know, Battlefield. I mean, you couldn't do it without it, but I've always personally thought that the inventory gameplay There's definitely certain modes where the inventory gameplay just is kind of useless. But on the same at the same time, I also don't want to just go play like a small capture the. I like the conquest game modes, but I would somehow want them to make it so that tanks and planes were not so overpowered in a conquest style environment. But I have enjoyed my fair share of Battlefield over the years, yeah. The War Within recap. Consult the Tome of History within Valdrakken to learn about the War Within saga. A parchment reaches you from an unknown sender. It speaks of pursuing a tome to catch up on current events and how it's vital to understanding a looming threat. Perhaps you should seek this tome to understand more when you are ready. Why have I been given that, like, at level 89? Okay. I like the fact that it's a thing, though. I do like that that's a thing. Like I said, I would ever so slightly question the, I would question giving it to me at level 89, but other than that... I'd also say that this, you know, world PvP zone is only the top quadrant of the Void Storm map. And it itself feels as big as a fully fledged zone, you know. Maybe it's just, you know, lack of exploration yet, but it feels pretty expansive. In a good way, though. Not like Koresh, which is big for almost no reason other than just to be big. Let's go do the campaigny quests, because we tinkered up in this little area a little bit. See a little bit more of the zone. My experience with BF6, the jets, helis don't seem too powerful as you can counter them with the recon class and the engineer kit, anti-air kits. Obviously ace pilots exist though and can make it tough, but more satisfying when you take them out. That's how it should be, in my opinion. I think jets and planes and helicopters and stuff should be for those people who are like 2 or 3 people in a Discord just deliberately squadding up, but squadding up properly, you know? Those players probably should dominate a random pug lobby. But equally, as long as there's enough options for, you know, a couple of people, you know, you can take them down with a rocket launcher, job done. I need to stop thinking about BF6. 2.5D video?
My arrows strike true. I will not fail again.
I was about to say the same to you.
Wait, why can I still speak to you? Oh, you just tell me some stuff about what's going on? No, I know there's a lot of people playing Battlefield 6 at the moment, so it's it's clearly one of the biggest game releases of the year, so it's not a problem. I just don't want to submit to temptation. That's all. Ooh, what do we get here? Bring the hollow key to Illyria. Oh, that's actually a campaign quest, so that's almost guaranteed drop, I'd imagine. My crab is taking a beating. Keeping men pet up permanently. Struggling to take on more than 2 mobs. Vulnerable piping. How do we get to that? Down here, look. Guess we need to find more vulnerable piping and focus on that. Honestly, this zone already feels like what Koresh probably should have been. It's safe to say that Koresh was a big flop, in my opinion, at least, as a zone. Real disappointing for like an end of expansion zone as well. But this is already looking to be better. Which is going to be good, because if we're incentivized, if this ends up being like the level 90 zone that we spend a bunch of time in, that'll be reasonable. What am I in combat with? You. Where did you come from? Yeah, I need to tinker with these nameplates a little bit more. It's kind of mildly frustrating how all of the names are cut off. Because also, it's the suffix of the name that is usually quite important to know. Because they're all going to be Maniforged Summon. But I want to know, where's the Maniforged healer? Where's the, like, you know, I want to easily target the one that's important to kill quickly. Can't tinker with what has no options. Well, there's also an air of truth to that as well. Crash looked nice, but it bounced off the content there. But it didn't have anything to, it was just sparse. Like, it was just literally barren. I mean, they probably won't admit it, but it was clearly clawed out of the flipping trash bin, cobbled together in an afternoon by an intern, it felt. I'm convinced Koresh was like some unused Shadowlands zone or something you never saw.
live up to your legend, Mother.
I do. They will not escape.
It's a lot. 444,000 experience. Feels a lot when you're only getting 13k per quest. That's campaign quests.
I am on the hunt.
This is stuff that gets tinkered with in the beta though, like the XP curves and stuff. See, look, the name for the beginning of these is Manafa. Manafa. Like, I don't know what they are. Are they you know, Maniforged Engineer? Even the target UI slices off half the name. You actually have to hover over it and then look at the tooltip. So you actually have to go to a tertiary location to find out what the flipping thing is. Nameplate doesn't give the full name, then this doesn't give the full name. You have to look at the tooltips. Like mana what? Mana N. Mana what? Mana net? No, mana nether rider. Ah, okay. It's just bad, isn't it? If you're going to truncate the names of stuff, maybe put the important bit of the name first. Oh look, 3 more manas. This is why it's so concerning that if they're like axing add-ons abilities to do what add-ons have done best over the years, it's very concerning they're doing that before that they're able to create a fully functioning version of it themselves. And it's baffling that something that should be as straightforward as a nameplate is under so much scrutiny. Quasi-Plata profile changed the colour of the nameplates for the quest mob that you had to kill, made life so much easier. Oh right, yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that add-ons wouldn't be able to do anymore. Okay, you're just perma-casting on me. There's no point trying to interrupt something that's a perma-cast. Subjugate is the thing that we probably should have interrupted. Well, now I know. I need to look into the story of Othraxian. What's the deal with a light-touched dreadlord? Seems sus. I am the worst person to ask about the lore, but I'm also weirdly testing these zones whilst deliberately trying to not pay that much attention to that sort of stuff. This is more to just get a feel for the zone really right now. A, spoiler reasons, and B, because I know half of it's not properly implemented yet. What annoys me the most, in the past Blizzard implemented loads of add-ons into the game but never prevented the community to keep using them if they wanted. This is why it's odd, right? This is why it's strange that they're doing this kind of like kick all of the free dev type, you know, kick all of these add-on devs out before implementing a fully functioning in-house system yourself. It's going to leave you, you know, could leave them with their pants down a little bit if there ends up being like no good way to solve a common problem. And while I know it's, you know, it's Blizzard's game and all of that, but them steamrolling in, pretending they're the experts, when they've paid little to no attention to any of this for the last 20 years, is kind of like, ooh, that's a bold move. That's a bold move. To assume that you can steamroll in and do it better than add-on devs that have been doing it for you for 20 years. It's like, oh, okay. Look how well that worked with the cooldown manager, for example. Like, surely that should have taught you something real quick. That if you half-ass something on its first iteration, people are going to tell you you've half-assed it. Time for a Zygor plug. Zygor auto adds target marks next to mobs for quests as a target button. Yeah, I don't use that anywhere near as much as I should, but that's also very useful. You can like keybind it and stuff as well. It's very useful. So instead of tab targeting, you can have a separate keybind that just targets mobs. The mobs that you need to target, kind of thing.
I need a target. I don't have a target.
Brown ring under mobs means it's a quest mob. True, that there is that slightly different shadow to them, but it's only very subtle.
We will find Zalatath. She cannot hide from me.
So, as of right now, all this gear that's getting dished out, Blizzard have claimed it's the wrong item level anyway, but in theory, this should probably be 220, I think. It feels like this should be 220 gear, not 120 gear.
I'm with you, Lothraxian.
Because what we were looking at, 226, I think, was the level 90 BOE we picked up. Oh, frustratingly now, it actually just says item level 49. Even the tooltip doesn't work properly. I mean, that's a cool backdrop, isn't it? Pretty cool skybox on the go.
There, imprisoned within that shield.
Any predictions when Midnight should release? Strong suspicions of like end of February, early March. No, definitely not June. No,
My
that's way too
arrows
late.
came true.
End of February, beginning of March, almost for certain.
Fail again.
Wasn't there something on the alpha indicating when the pre-patch starts or something like that, which gave people a bit of a sneak peek into, you know, a slightly firmer guess to when it goes live? The date on the collector's edition is June. Yeah, but that's like the legal, it will release on or before the 29th of June. That's legal mumbo jumbo, that doesn't count. You can ignore that. And the legal obligation there is that if you are pre-ordering something, you have to give people within reasonable indication of when when they're going to be available, you know, when they can actually get it. If you're asking for money up front for something, you have a legal obligation. It doesn't mean that in any way, shape, or that the release date is going to be anywhere near that. It just means even if everything goes horribly, horribly wrong and they have to delay the launch of the expansion by a couple of months, then it will still be before this date. It means that they avoid any sort of hot water from pre-order legality. Oh, my pet's dead again. Oh, I need one more fragment. There it is. Master override key. Nether Maid Protector. Let's get you gone. Legally, they're committed to no later than June. Basically, yeah. It doesn't mean that's what it's been penciled in, though. What's really interesting for me is going to be how quickly they start talking about the Last Titan stuff. Because I've said for a while, I am convinced that by the time this saga is over, they want to be on a 12-month cycle. And I think if anybody's going to push for that, it's going to be Microsoft. Whoa! Bonus jellyfish, where did you come from? They got distracted from the shitstorm that's brewing on the horizon? I mean... I am kind of surprised in a way how Midnight is obviously only in the hands of a few. They definitely didn't give anywhere near enough people access to the alpha for it to get even reasonable coverage. I mean, you try browsing Twitch or YouTube for any sort of alpha coverage, it's pretty slim pickings out there. But even that, there's been very, very, very little hype for it, in my opinion. Everybody is 100 times more interested in housing than they are for, like, basically anything in Midnight. And I wonder if this is why, like, even though it wasn't the initial plan, I wonder if this is why they so heavily have tried to attach housing to Midnight, even though housing comes out before and stuff, but, like, tagging it to the pre-order and whatever. Obviously, it's a way to sell boxes, but I really hope it isn't because Midnight is just a bit of a weak, end up being a weak expansion. I know it's quite a pessimistic way of looking at it, but having played The War Within a lot, having played Dragonflight a lot, having now seen Midnight a whole bunch, it really, really, really does feel like this quote-unquote saga we're dealing with at the moment is a way for them to spread one story over 3 expansions. You know, I've kind of mentioned this a couple of times on stream before, but like it feels like these 3 expansions could just easily be 1 expansion's worth of stuff, but they've spread it over 3 to give them more time to focus on whatever's later down the line. Kind of a bold move in hoping that people won't get too, you know, hoping that the game is good enough to keep people interested, but at the same time, they don't really feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's no Legion right now. Blasting through Legion Remix recently only has gone to, like, remind everybody of just how much came with Legion. Like, not only is it often renowned as one of the better expansions that World of Warcraft has made, it was packed with stuff, right? Look at the amount of people that have, like, had a heart attack at the Suramar questline because they just forgot how long it was, right? People forgot that the Suramar questline was, like, you know, a 12-hour adventure in itself. Along with artifact abilities, along with legendaries, along with the Mythic Plus system, along with everything else that came with it. We were complaining about a story taking 2 to 3 years to tell. Now they want to tell it over 6 to 8 years. It's yeah, it feels like they're drip feeding it over a while. Undermine was the best patch, and it barely had anything to do with the main story. Yes, I would definitely agree. There is mixed emotions about the Undermine as a zone, but from a game design perspective, it was, I mean, I don't think there's anybody out there that says Koresh is better than the Undermine. It very much feels like Undermine was the zone that they were planning to create. Koresh was something that they cobbled together to have a zone for the 3rd season. But it wasn't really, you know, wasn't really much of anything. But yeah, you're right that it was kind of odd that Undermine was the better patch. Better zone, better quests, better story. Yeah, didn't, you know, felt like a side quest to the actual story in a way. Yeah, and adding the car in was clearly a good opportunity for them to test and build and develop some travel tech. It'll be interesting to see if they try and copy or replicate anything similar with that tech. From what I've seen so far in Midnight, not so much, but I'm going to be honest, I haven't tested Midnight that thoroughly. There's something that makes me want to pull this entire pack and nuke it down. I'm getting remix vibes, even though I know that this is not a sensible thing to do. These dark splinters, I need to kill 15 of these though, apparently. I think they learned that going full speed on the ground ain't working with obstacles. Well, yeah, they definitely had to work pretty hard to get that right, didn't they? And it ended up being acceptable. You know, it was an acceptable solution, but it clearly took them a lot more time and effort, and they realised that, holy shit, retrofitting this speedy car in old zones is basically a no-go, right? It's gotta be. I'm sure it was far too much hard work. I would imagine the amount of time and effort it took to get the car to feel good in Koresh, a brand new zone that was custom built for it almost, is probably going to have put them off trying to put the car in any other zone anywhere else ever. Oh, I need all of my leech. I need all of my Legion Remix leech. Skyrunning only works because there are generally no obstacles in the air until we get forced to fly through woods. Yes. Oh, Remix has also done a really good job of showcasing that, hasn't it? That if when you take dragon riding into a zone that wasn't really designed for it, oof, my god. Try flying around Valajar with dragon riding. It can be a challenging experience. Right, is this going to be 15 of these? I think so. There we go. Now we're cooking. Getting tired of farming my own mats for housing. Want 1,000 of every orb, bar, etc. It's tiresome, but there's not much else to do right now. Waiting for the next phase in Remix. Yeah, not that I think I've missed the boat, but I'm a lot slower to be reacting to any housing stuff at the moment. But one of the things... Oh, I'm dead. One of the things that I do think is very worthwhile is I would like to collate or find from some smart person that's already done it a list of exactly what is needed to craft just one of everything and start working on that list, if nothing else. Whether that be buying shit when I see it be cheap or even farming some of it myself, just cause. That, to me... telling me to go do this recap again. That, to me, feels like a good start, because of course when it turns up, you're gonna want one of everything super fast. Ooh. Alma is saying hi to the wife. I'll be back in 2, boys and girls. Give me a second. Okay. Getting really good at feigning death. Super convincing. Shush. Lies. Lies, I tell you. What's the hype behind housing? I'm getting so tired of keeping up with the FOMO stuff. Well, it's the single biggest thing that's being added to World of Warcraft in probably the last decade. I would say as impactful, if not potentially even more impactful than Mythic Plus. Not necessarily even because it has to be something that you super duper mega enjoy, but just from the overall, how's the best way of describing it? It opens WoW up to a monstrously large new audience. How do we do this then? We just keep pew-pewing. How much health do you have? 1,000,000 health. This hurts. Okay. Sure. What did she bring you? A pepperoni pizza from Lidl, a pretzel, and a couple of cookies. And she also bought some ingredients for dinner later today. Ow, am I doing something wrong here? But I'm getting absolutely nuked by this motherfucker. I'm gonna stand out here because it's not fun dying 15 times the same fucking mob. Hitting all the food groups. Yeah. Oh, now my gear's busted. Alright, let's just do this. And oh god, I don't have mounts. Oh, there was me about to just jump on a mammoth. Please tell me I've got a mammoth.
Potential customer.
Right. Fix that bit real quick. Let me quickly put this on that one. Minute while I nom some food. Feels a bit buggy, like the golden boy should be putting up a shield or something. Yeah, it looks like something should be happening there that's not. Something definitely wasn't quite right. There's also this ethereal disruption event. This? This is a weekly reward. Victorious Storm Pinnacle Cash. Maybe if that's up, we should investigate what it is. There's the quest over here. Riftblade, Malia, and forces regroup at Storm Keep.
I greet you.
Oh, core chest requires level 90. Okay. Can I not do any of this yet then? Trade imports?
Yes, can I help you?
Okay. Just sort of some bonus equipment to help you with some sort of battle by the looks of things. Not that there appears to be any battle going on. Regroup for the next defense. Maybe this is like a battle in waiting. Ha! The ore nodes are still flipping huge, look. The size of the damn things. Made me giggle whenever we were doing some herbing and mining these things, you know. Massive, great big things. Do I just wait this out then and see what happens next? This quest, actually. What do you want?
Question everything. Fate is ours to decide.
Still void energy reserves.
Corella Run.
Material destruction.
There is strength in shadow.
Any news on Zygor with the add-on API changes? Not that I'm aware of. I think they're still probably able to do everything that they're used to do. At least at first glance, anyway. Like I said, I don't really know exactly what's going on with half of this stuff anyway, but, like, it doesn't appear that they do anything particularly computational that would, be restricted. But, not sure. Okay. Host was victorious, now something else is happening. Oh, these are level 90 mobs as well. Losing LVI will be interesting. I used LVI many years ago. When was it that I stopped using it? I think I used LVI throughout most of Shadowland. I think it was probably when Blizzard made the UI editor thing. I think it was probably when I properly stopped using LVI. But yeah, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I'm not going to go into full detail again, but it is somewhat surprising that there are, there are going to be lots of add-ons that will get caught in the crossfire, even if it's not Blizzard's intention to make their lives any more difficult. There's clearly significant enough changes that it might kill off more add-ons than was kind of designed. Oh, there we go. From Zygor's Discord. Extremely slim right now. So far, all Midnight add-on changes are focused for combat-orientated add-ons. Which ours is not. There we go. This event doesn't seem to have done anything, but also simultaneously the box was like, please be level 90. And so I wasn't level 90 yet, so maybe we come back once we are level 90 and figure it out. I guess we try and kill that stupid great big dude again. Potion of unquestionable strength. And Excalibur. What are you? Take the potion. Potion didn't do anything. I would guess we take the potion, get strong, and then we pull the sword out. But it don't work. Don't work. Unless there's something else I'm meant to do. No. Oh my god, I can't type today. What the hell? What's happened there? You're being targeted by hungering presence. Return to lower ground. Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't fly over the edge of the world then. Right, should we try this again? Hopefully not die this time.
I'm out of range.
Spoilers to a minimum.
Mother. The toll.
That pizza was really good.
We should fall back and recover.
Get rid of that one.
I'm on the hunt. I do not miss.
Never-ending vortex cap. Got a rare upgrade. Still, the item levels are scuffed.
Honor to you. Carry on the crusade.
Ooh, more vendors. What we got here? Weaponsmith, stable master,
What do you seek?
cataloger.
The universe is full of mystery. Everything has a price.
Nothing on half of the NPCs yet.
May the light guide you. Do not give up the fight.
We fight for a new future.
I do.
Anyone else? Any more for any more? Anybody else that looks interesting? New random quest has popped up.
New doorways have opened to us.
Who's a good boy? He's a good boy. What? Horrified me. Not so good boy. White chocolate chip cookie. Pizza day is now Monday. Accidentally, yeah. I didn't stay a while, nor did I listen. Whoops.
The universe is full of mystery.
That layout is different to the one you're using. Oh. Is it? I maybe haven't updated the paste bin in a while.
The
it's based on that, roughly. I update the same pace bin. I could if I could remember what my login is. Why can't I just share this? Pace bin, let me just share it. Oh, verify you're a human. There we go. Try that one. Try that one. What are we picking up here then?
New doorways have
Scout assisted. Oh, okay, you're not friendly, sure. I must admit, I've not seen very many herbing or mining nodes out here. I've seen one or two, but not many. I guess this is probably something I should be focusing on more than just doing all the quests, but I wanted to get a character to 90 just to see what's going on at 90. And, there's definitely feels like there's less to gather out here. But this should be the zone where you get the Void Moat. And if that ends up being used in a bunch of crafting stuff, it's going to be important for herbers and miners to gather in each of the 4 different zones, dependent on whichever is the moat that is the most valuable at any given time, I would imagine. But if there's way less, you know, herb and mining nodes out here, then that might make the decision for you.
Walk your own path.
5th remix tune 280 now, and the class campaign done. Do I want to do more? Well, there's a feat of strength for doing all of them.
We embrace a new future. Sharella Ron.
Oh no, the blueberry got pissed. See you later. Rip. I'm missing one more scout. Oh, hello.
My arrows strike true.
The dark Naru within you, Mother. I never understood just how exhausting it must be to maintain control over it. Or how lonely it's been for you, protecting us from it.
Baladash Balanore.
Stop. Don't apologize for... Greetings. May your heart be true. It's the fight. I know, but you need to understand. You can't protect me from what's out there. And you can't scare me away.
309% XP gain. I've yeah, I still have yet to push mine to 400. I just need to level one more tune on Remix, and it'll be there. I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I was thinking about this on Saturday. What do I think I will plan to do in Midnight from a profession point of view? Because with there being no shuffle, there's a lot more opportunity to play less characters, but to still achieve more. And I was thinking that with 5 accounts up and running, what I could probably do, and where this ties into Remix, is I'll use Remix to level the characters needed to do this, is have 4 characters on each of my accounts. So across 4 characters on 5 accounts. So 20 characters in total. But each account will have a copy of each major crafting profession. So herbalism, jewel crafting, leatherworking, tailoring, inscription, blacksmith, you know, the crafting ones. The 8 major crafting professions could be across 4 different characters, multiplied across each different account. This means that I'll have 5 copies, potentially, of each profession, meaning that they can be specced into slightly different things where necessary. But also, simultaneously, it'll allow for a couple of them to double up, meaning that across the 5 accounts, wherever there is processing to be done, such as prospecting or milling or, well, unraveling doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. That's one of the things that got the axe. But wherever there's some sort of processing to be done, that might be able to be done equally as powerfully on multiple accounts, or just having one account doing it in the background while I'm doing something else. You know, it greatly increases the, you know, early expansion optimization. You have 5 copies across 5 different accounts of a single profession. Min-max the flexibility, yeah. Basically meaning that at any one point I could have like 1 prospecting, 1 milling, 1 disenchanting, 1 processing something else. I can't think off the top of my head, but then I could have the 5th account actually playing the game, doing the world quests, getting the rep and all of that. Sort of do the multi-account thing kind of properly, even though I was in the position to do it for the War Within, because of how shuffling at least felt so very important going into the War Within. I chose to go that route, whereas actually maybe I'd have been better off not, but I don't know, we'll see. 17 ults done in Remix? Flipping out. But yeah, the reason I was getting to Remix is that I might need to level just 4 teams dedicated for this purpose, so that each account can have 1 copy of each profession. And it will also mean that in the early days, things like profession tools and stuff will be easier to quickly spec into on just 1 character. Oh, 1 short, of course. Here we go. You got your 2nd tune to 740. Oh my god.
We have no shortage of enemies.
That is one aspect I am not planning on doing. You see the map? This is the map of the Void Zone. Not really too much to see. The other map's not done yet.
What have you learned? She cannot hide from me.
Okay, well, there's clearly a third chapter to go here. What did you get to 740, Wu? Your Demon Hunter and... Oh, the Boomy. Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, probably the only class I would do a second one is either a Paladin or a Druid. But I'm suffering from the same issue that I had in Mists of Pandaria Remix, of that any time I spend not on my main character feels like a waste. So until my hunter has 999 limits unbound, it's going to be hard to spend too much time on an alt. Got to do some work. Going to on gaming the last month or so. Well, now is kind of the time to take a bit of a break, realistically, though, isn't it? Knowing your style of gameplay, you can log on occasionally, buy a few things that you plan to squirrel away for 12 months, and then not really devote too much time to the game right now. Now's the time to take that break. Now's the time to get those IRL things done. Get ahead of the work. What race should I make my alts for progression in Remix for Midnight? I've long since given up caring about the races, especially for professions. There is very, very, very little chance that it will have any impact at all in Midnight. It's one of those things that I don't think it's... if you're making a character specifically for them to do a certain job, if you are, if you're making a jewel crafter, then sure, pick a Draenei, because a bonus is always a bonus, right? But I really don't think that class or race or anything really particularly matters these days. With the exception being that maybe a druid is still head and shoulders above everybody else regarding gathering. But other than that, doesn't make too much difference. All alts should just be called Tyrans. Well, yeah. Kind of, what is it like? Is it +2 or +3 skill all Tyrans get for all professions? Which realistically shouldn't make any difference whatsoever. There's always that slight chance that it allows you to use like one lesser high quality material or something. Wait, hang on, you're the renowned quartermaster here. Unlock the research console in Howling Ridge. Hello. Harness the violent energy that permeates the void storm, occasionally triggering a powerful suffusion of cosmic energy. When harnessed, the energy erupts in a state called Voidlust. Feed upon a barrage of void tendrils, draining a bunch of damage to all enemies within 12 yards of your target.
Do not fear.
Unlock a research console. Oh, hello. What are you? Massing Voidlust, rank 0 of 1. Protocol accreditation. Increase the power and intensity of your Voidlust episodes whilst fighting enemies within the Void Storm. Increase the duration of your Voidlust episodes whilst fighting enemies within the Void Storm. Increase your chances of experiencing Voidlust whilst fighting enemies within the Void Storm. Okay. So 3 buffs for whatever this Voidlust ends up being. Defense network. Further integration between Dominar technology and Void Elf magic enables the construction of defense points around the zone. Sorry, honey, can't talk right now. Having a Voidlust episode, yeah. Discover the ability to detect and utilize powerful void currents while skyriding throughout the Void Storm. Use the research console to manifest a powerful mount that will accompany you in your adventures throughout the Void Storm and beyond. Wings of the Void.
We embrace a new future. New doorways.
Okay, there's nothing much to that now, other than, what do you have, goodies-wise? Formula, Enchant Tool, Void Light Marl. I've got 2 of these so far. Is this Kej 2.0? This feels like Kej 2.0. Void Light Marl. Utilized to buy recipes. Bendori Ingenuity. Requires Midnight Enchanting 50. Requires Midnight Enchanting and Renown 5 with the Singularity. 150 Enchanter's Moxie and a single Void Light Marl right now. Rank 5. Void Elf Rug. Can I see the Renown Path? No, I don't have a button to see the Renown Path.
The void offers endless possibilities.
Renowns. We not have... No, we don't have much going on these now.
I greet you.
We have to figure it out from here. Void Elf Rug. Tailoring 1, Renown 5. Potion of Recklessness. Renown 5 once again. Midnight Alchemy 10. Technique Floating Void Touch Tome. Teaches you to craft Decor 3. Sure. Once again, Renown 5. Early days. Contract. The Singularity. Sign a contract with the Council of Dornogal that allows you to gain 5 rep with them every time you complete a world quest in Kazalgar. Say hello to copy paste. $1,000 Marl, a cosmetic cape. Obviously, all of these numbers are clearly not finished, but interestingly, the contract and the technique for inscription don't appear to use Moxie. Whether Inscription Moxie is not implemented yet, or whether it's planned not to, we'll have to wait and see. Beyond the event horizon, alchemy. Increase your midnight alchemy by 10. Requires renown 9 with the singularity. So we're gonna need to get well established with certain renowns again for the professions if we want to optimize our knowledge points. Renown 9 can't be too difficult though. Engineering, blacksmithing, and alchemy appear to be part of the Singularity faction. £10 each. Little funky pet. Voidy shoulders. An enigmatic fountain at renown 16, which we can't see because it's a toy. Okay. Copying the same sort of go do things, unlock things as previous factions and renowns. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Where were we? We're at the Howling Ridge. Worth remembering that. Cannot enter a name for the imported layout. Even done scan and repair disabled add-on, switched to full screen. It's odd. Can you not put anything in this box? Retail's had some weird issues over the last couple of days. I logged on to my retail characters and all of my config files seem to have been completely scuffed, and on a couple of my accounts all of my macros have disappeared, which I was really not happy to see. But I will need to
The void feels
figure that one out.
here. Perhaps the work of Decimus.
Won't let me click the box or even tab to it. That's very odd. Oh, we got trainers out here. Blacksmithing trainer. A forge. Seems like we'll be able to once again do our crafting in the Void Storm, the final zone, much like we could go down to Spider Lair, wherever the flipping hell it was called. Fishing trainer, herbalism trainer, blacksmithing trainer.
Do not control.
What do you seek?
No harm in picking up fishing.
I hope
Although I don't think any of those options were the right options, were they? That's not very helpful at all. I need new fishing.
question everything.
Maybe not today.
I hope you find your purchase to be satisfying.
Cook pot. Does that mean we have a cooking train around here somewhere?
The universe is full of mystery.
Herb trainer. Stable master. Terrible beast master with a quest. Okay. Are you raising these beasts? Any more goodies anywhere else in this little zone? Just those few trainers. Seems to mostly be it. I wonder then if some of the other places, there's other trainers that I've missed so far, maybe. Requires a bit more exploration, a bit more testing, a bit more figuring it out. You look like a doorway to somewhere. A doorway to nowhere yet. And I'm guessing this becomes a Stormwind and an Ogrimmar portal at some point, maybe? Don't know. Right. I guess we'll find out soon. Boys and girls, I'm going to leave it there for today, though. I'm doing a little bit of extracurriculars at the moment. I'm going to be looking at some of... I got to get some of the first impression videos for each of the professions done, because I know there's still a couple of major ones that people are waiting on. Especially considering there is a strong chance that we get a look at the endgame crafting in the next build. As there is some definite changes and tweaks and adjustments to how that's all working by the looks of things. We can't see much as of yet, but hopefully in the next build we'll get that. So I want to kind of keep up with the profession first impressions, because by the time they become second and third impressions, we'll be close to the beta. We'll be back tomorrow, although there is the slight possibility I might take tomorrow to actually record some of these videos so that they're done. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But either way, thank you very much for joining today. They'll be mostly focused on Midnight Alpha short term. Remix will be a passive in the background thing a little bit more. We might spend a day or so on Remix, depending on what the demand for it is. We'll see. There's plenty of time to finish off doing remixy stuff. I wanted to blast it at the beginning, get a fully geared character, get maximum enjoyment out of Remix nice and early, so we could switch back to Alpha, Beta. And then obviously we can tinker with Remix, because it's here to stay for a couple of months anyway. We've got housing and everything to contest with as well, which we need to put some focus on as well. It's all trying to just, you know, chop up the days and the weeks into what makes sense to be doing at the time. Alpha better than Remix. I'm very aware that people will have different opinions on that, but we'll try and do a little bit of everything where possible. But thank you for joining. Come say hi over on the Discord if you're not there already. And yeah, I'll catch you all, if not tomorrow, on Wednesday, boys and girls. Thanks for stopping by. Peace.